Hi, this is Gorky and you're watching Telly Tadka.
Welcome Gorky, Telly Tadka, and it is an absolute pleasure to have you on Telly Tadka.
Thank you very much.
It has been a long overdue wish of Telly Tadka, especially the founder Muniza Riaz, who would be thrilled to see you on our show today.
Okay.
Coming to who you are, we'll probably touch upon you as a photographer and your journey into photography, because your name is synonymous with the photograph of Drashti Dami of Geet, which made her so popular. Not that she wasn't before that, but it was probably a photograph that will live in history. Talk about that photograph.
Okay, it was as they say that it's just one of those pictures where I had actually no intention. It was not planned at all, and I was shooting something else, and I packed up and I just called up Gul and I asked her where I meet you, and she said I'm shooting at the studio, which happened to be very near to the place where I just packed up from. So I said okay, that I'll just drop in, figure out. Maybe we can go home together or something like that. So I just landed up there, and thankfully, because I always have my camera with me, as you can see. So it's always with me, and this sequence was happening, the song was happening, and she was dressed in that white / silver sari, and Rishikesh Gandhi, the DOP, was doing a fab job of lighting, and so I was just sitting there, and I just felt that this needed to be captured, and so it was a very tough shoot in the sense because there was a lot of movement, there were a lot of dancers, there was a lot of chaos because I think they were shooting at a really hectic pace, and it was because there was a time when they were shooting, and there was song, there was dialogue, so the sound was and usually what happens is that and at that point of time a lot of people didn't know me even on the set, so I think I got shouted at a couple of times by the sound recorders because I'd go click click click, and he would say, what are you doing? You're screwing up the dialogue. So I just kind of decided, and so I shot a lot of pictures that day, and but I think if I remember correctly, that picture was shot at about 2:45 in the morning.
Wow!
Because I just kept going on and on and on, but I was just not getting that picture which had her in isolation, and I wanted it to be magical, like Geet is, or like Drashti is. So I really wanted it to convey some sort of a magic, and I think I finally, when I took that shot, and so I said okay, well worth it, and I was dead tired that day and my feet were hurting, but I reached home eventually at I think 4:30, 4:45 in the morning. I think Gul left before me. What happened? I thought you wanted to go home, you were tired. I said no, I'll wait for this one. I'm glad I did.
Great. When did this love affair with camera start?
Love affair camera started at a very early age, and though for a very, very long time I did not have the, how should one say, resources to entertain such an expensive hobby. And but I used to shoot, and I used to, because those were, as they say, good old days of film. So we'd shoot, and I'd make notes in my little notebook that this has been taken at this setting. So when the film would come back after developing, we would compare, okay, this is what went wrong here, this is what should have been. So that's how you picked up. I bought my first camera on installments from one very famous person here in Bombay who gives people stuff on installments mostly to people of the film industry.
Right.
And just by word of mouth, so I bought it from him. He didn't deal in cameras. He deals mostly with televisions and DVDs.
Right.
So I said, I need this camera. So he was okay. So, and it's very nice of him to, I think I was paying him some installment of some $450 a month. Took me a lifetime to pay him off. But then when, I started as, became slightly more financially independent because, and by that time, digital was coming in and I wanted to see. One was very skeptical, of course. But then I switched to digital and then never looked back.
What is your take in film vis-a-vis digital? Do you think digital is the thing, or do you think the old traditional method still works?
See, the traditional method works because your foundations are very strong.
Okay.
But having said that, I feel that possibly had digital been around when I started shooting, I would have been miles ahead right now of what I am, because it's so quote unquote easy. Because you shoot a picture, the EXIF data tells you what were your settings, and you have your various stuff like post-processing stuff. At that time it was very tough because you had shot something, and for the printer to see, like you shot a high contrast scene, and I never could afford a professional printer, so you gave it to those corner labs, and they would say, oh, it's too dark, let me blow it up.
Oh dear. Okay.
So the picture would come out looking pretty ghastly.
Right.
So, but all that is, very nice in the sense that, that you can, and it's just crazy how much.
That's fine, go ahead.
It's crazy, what leaps in technology we've taken. It's, so that, but I'm really glad that I shot on film because, your basics are there in place. You don't, how do you say, don't spray and then pray. Like, just so each frame you knew that you're probably going to end up, it's going to cost you something.
Yes.
So you made a calculated decision whether to expose that frame or not. So it's all about mindset, because I think that's the biggest disadvantage that digital has, is that people shoot first and think later. So it should be the reverse, and I'm glad that I underwent that process.
तुक्के लड़ाते हैं.
Exactly. वो देख लेंगे बाद में. Photoshop तो है ही.
Photoshop. Coming to that, do you Photoshop your pictures?
I don't per se Photoshop because I'm not very good with it.
Okay.
Got a terrible hand. I always wanted to sketch, but I can't sketch to save my life. So all that masking and layering.
Right.
But I do use color manipulation.
Okay.
I use Lightroom primarily because again I shoot raw. So the picture is actually, the raw picture is actually a digital negative, and it looks very blank. It's meant to look very blank.
Right.
So you have to tweak it a bit. And always in photography, it's never, I don't think it's so much as about how your eye sees it in real life. It's how it speaks to you.
Right.
So I don't have a problem doing color manipulation, because very often before I'm shooting, I know that what this should look like.
Right.
And as I said, if you're shooting raw, it's impossible to go without using some kind of intermediate software like Lightroom or one of the ones that Canon.
Right.
So I do that, but yeah, Photoshop I don't do too much. Actually, I don't do it at all. If it's a professional shoot and client wants something to say something, yeah.